On June 1st, the Trump administration changed some rules on Medicaid recipients.
Hey special family, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm AutismMom, and on this channel we talk about autism and everything in between. So Medicaid work rules have changed. Let's take a look at what these changes are.
On June 1st, the Trump administration changed some rules on Medicaid recipients. If you are receiving Medicaid or you know someone who is receiving Medicaid, there are 3 very important dates that you have to know about. The new Medicaid work rule is going to negatively impact a lot of people. I don't even have any words right now for how I feel about this administration at this moment after reading this. The 80-hour mandate. Able-bodied adults aged 19 to 64 must prove they work, volunteer, participate in job training, or attend school for a minimum of 80 hours per month to retain their health coverage. Recipients are required to submit paperwork to re-verify their eligibility every 6 months. There are some exceptions though. Pregnant women, primary caregivers of children under 14 or disabled relatives, individuals who already meet the work requirements for SNAP benefits. The 3 dates that Medicaid recipients need to pay attention to. This September 2026. States must begin mandatory public outreach to notify enrollees of the upcoming changes. January 1st, 2027. The work requirements officially take effect across the country. January 1st, 2028. The initial self-attestation grace period ends and strict physical verification documentation becomes fully mandatory. I am livid because there are people who might be physically able to go out there and work 10, 15, 20 hours a week, but mentally they're not. This is going to harm so many people because they won't be eligible for their benefits. Rural, heartless, and they just don't give a shit.
We're put on this earth with agency to change our future, change the country's future, make the planet a better place. We're put here to make a difference. But if you're sitting at home, which is true for the millions of people who are able-bodied on Medicaid, on average, you're spending 6.1 hours watching television or just hanging around. That's not why you're here. So as a path to prosperity, Congress very wisely said, let's get you back into the workforce. Let's require you to get free healthcare coverage, to be able to work for 20 hours a week, or volunteer to make up the difference if you haven't worked 20 hours, or get an education, just participate. And so that rule came out. It's a, I think, beautifully written effort to try to define for our nation what your part of the puzzle is. Because if you are going to get something that of value from the American people, there should be some obligation if you're able to. If you're not able to, if you're disabled, if you're, and one of the categories that are well defined in general, not able to work, it's different. But if you can work, you should get up and work again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rubin, and Dr. Oz is painting a picture of Medicaid recipients sitting at home watching TV for 6.1 hours a day, making it seem like they are lazy and don't contribute to society when the facts don't fit his reality. What's really going on is that most non-disabled adults on Medicaid actually work, but they work low-income jobs that don't provide health insurance, so Medicaid is what they're able to access. And so we have tried work requirements in the past, and it typically does not work. In Arkansas in 2018, there was a work requirement put in place, and close to 20,000 people lost their health insurance without any meaningful increase in employment. Remember, when people have access to health care, they are more likely to be able to work because they're more likely to be healthy. So by having these work requirements and people losing their health insurance, they're less likely to be able to maintain their job status. This should not be framed as hardworking taxpayers versus lazy Medicaid recipients. The real policy issue here is that are we going to put in more bureaucratic red tape that could cause vulnerable people to lose their health insurance? That's the real question.
Trump's new Medicaid rule is going to kill people. So let's break it down because on the surface, it seems fine. The work requirements are 80 hours a month for everyone between 19 and 64, unless you qualify for a medically frail exemption. And this is exactly where the issue lies. It requires states to outline health conditions that would fall under medically frail, but it specifically prevents states from offering blanket exemptions for any medical conditions, which means that if you have cancer or HIV or any other condition that prevents you from working, that doesn't automatically qualify you for the exemption. You could still be required to prove that your symptoms significantly impair your ability to work, and if the government doesn't accept your argument, you would lose your health coverage. Experts are saying that millions of people are expected to lose coverage when this goes into effect on January 1st of next year. And as always, here's my source if you want more information about this.
States are enforcing Medicaid work rules without clear federal guidance, and millions could lose coverage because of it. So here is where the details absolutely matter. States are now rushing to enforce new Medicaid work requirements tied to Trump's healthcare overhaul, and they are not even operating under the same rules. The requirements sound simple: work, go to school, or complete 80 hours a month of approved activity, or risk losing your healthcare. But here is where it starts to fall apart. States have not been given clear federal guidance yet, and that is not expected until June. And the deadline to fully implement this is January of 2027. So what are states doing? They are making their own rules instead. So Nebraska is already moving forward and released a massive list of conditions that qualify as medically frail to exempt people. Meanwhile, 21 other states still have not even defined what medically frail means. And then you have states like Iowa and Indiana. They are not planning to adopt any hardship exemptions at all. Other states are going the opposite direction. About 28 states and DC are planning to offer exemptions for things like hospitalization, natural disasters, or high unemployment. So depending on where you live, your access to Medicaid could and probably will look completely different. So as far as enforcement, some states are relying on Medicaid claims data, others want clinicians to verify exemptions, and some are allowing self-attestation even though federal officials have already pushed back on that. And then we get to AI. States like Maryland and New Mexico are planning to use AI to analyze claims data. Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma, they want AI interacting directly with patients, helping them upload documents and verify eligibility. So now your healthcare access could depend on whether an algorithm processes your information correctly. And we already know what happens when systems like this get complicated. In Arkansas, people did not lose Medicaid because they refused to work. They lost it because they could not navigate the reporting system. So now multiply that across the entire country. The Congressional Budget Office estimates this policy will cut $326 billion in spending, but also leave about 4.8 million more people uninsured. So let's just call this what it is. This is not just about work requirements. This is about building a system so complex that people lose coverage trying to prove that they deserve it.
I hope this video was informative and that you're aware of these changes, that you've seen what these changes are, and that you're keeping track or making sure you're aware of what's coming and what's going. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.